Mike, I told the listeners about the contest last episode. Should I remind them about it?
Yeah, but let's wait until the end. Just, keep them on the hook.
Oh, you're cruel, Kamite.
Okay, on with the episode. I'm Mike Kamite.
I'm Jacob Tender.
Welcome back to Bantha Fodder. We got a lot coming at you this week. We just did the Star Wars convention breakdown in episode 19. Now we're here with you with episode 20. Of course.
We got a trailer.
We got a teaser. Don't call it a trailer. It's a teaser.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a pretty substantial teaser, though.
No, it's a good teaser. I think all Star Wars teasers are good teasers. I think they're very good at what they're doing. I think they know what they're up to there. And yeah, I'm stoked on this. It is short. Like, it's not a full trailer. It's 2 minutes and 10 seconds long. But how much of that is blackness?
That's not bad.
No, not at all. I think it's great. Let's just dig into it. I don't want to waste time. I want to talk about it.
We mentioned the poster last episode.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the poster in our last episode. We talked mostly about the Star Wars Celebration, which is a good episode to check out. So if you haven't listened to it, check it out there. Any quick thoughts on the poster before we dig into the trailer?
Well, you pointed out to me at first glance, I didn't realize that was Kylo Ren on the right. I know that should be pretty obvious to most people, but I just saw a human with long hair, and I assumed Luke was on the left and Rey was on the right. And then you pointed out that it was Kylo Ren, and I looked at it again. I was like, yeah, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's why.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, there is some new marketing going around showing Rey with a different hairstyle that's longer, not so much the
oh, man, what do you think the plot development is going to be around her hairstyle, man?
Well, I think it's going to be...
I'm being facetious. Don't answer my question.
It's going to be like a mirroring thing. They're going to have Kylo Ren in three little buns on the backside. It's going to symbolize that they're brother and sister.
Didn't actually want you to answer that question at all.
So yeah, the poster's cool. It's not the final poster. It's like a teaser poster. So
yeah, you mentioned,
still dope.
I think last episode, the red on the poster. I feel like...
And we're not talking about Trump's ties to Russia.
No, not this podcast. You do that in your other podcast. We have the red lightsaber, the red font in Last Jedi, and then we're slowly learning more about this new planet that's being introduced in this teaser, which is Crate. And I guess reading various possibly dubious sources on the internet, Crate is a planet that is covered in red sand, I guess, but also with a thin layer of white, which we're going to see in a shot later, I think. So I think red is, part of the scenery in this film, not just, we're not like the dark side, and I'm sure there's going to be some cool symbolism,
Yeah.
But in this case, I think we're learning more about the settings of the planet.
Well, if you mean dubious publications, as in Entertainment Weekly, they had a spot on this kind of explaining a little bit about the planet. They got a couple words in with Rian Johnson, the writer and director of the movie, and he kind of talks a little bit about the use of red. In Entertainment Weekly, they mentioned, of course, that the red color scheme is being used in the Last Jedi's title. It's in the teaser poster. It's in Star Wars lore, Vader's eyes, et cetera, the lightsaber. In this article, Rian Johnson kind of talks about how he employs this part of the spectrum for a specific reason. It's in the trailer. We get these speeders that are lined up in a formation to fly along the surface of this new place called Crate. And these stabilizers are, they're ripping up scorched surface from the ground, and the blood red colored plumes are just ash that are trailing along behind, which is really cool in stark comparison to the coke white sand that they're racing across.
Reminds you of those Star Destroyers. Takes you back right to Rogue One.
I love contrast.
Those Rogue One days were wild.
He says it's way out there. It's very remote. It's uncharted. It's a mineral planet, so there are mines on it. And he says that there are some beautiful design elements, and I hope some really unique ones that we were able to bring into it. It does seem pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this. This is more than a planet like Hoth, which is like ice planet. This is more than Dagobah, just like a jungle planet. This is more than, Cloud City, just a gas giant. This is like a planet with a surface layer, and then there's more under the surface.
Yeah. He says it's the white crust is salt.
It's a metaphor,
The
man.
white dusting of salt over this red rubyish mineral base. That sounds like a nice dish.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is something that I would eat at a fancy New York restaurant.
Yeah, but I like how you say Hoth because it kind of mirrors that.
I would say it contrasts it because Hoth is just one layer of ice and snow, and this planet is like a white exterior with like a very red underneath.
Okay,
I think that's why I'm saying it's a metaphor, man. It's all metaphor, buddy.
I still hold that it mirrors it, but we'll get to that. I think we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. I did want to just bring up that the planet has a name because it doesn't say that within the trailer itself, but I think it's good if we can kind of set it up and kind of give it a name as we talk about it later. So
for sure,
that's there. There is a video going around. I've seen it on Facebook and Twitter a whole bunch. It's a video showing, it kind of shows the similarities between the first teaser for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. It's being advertised in a lot of places as, synchronous trailers. They're kind of pitching it as if the videos that they show side by side are the true trailers. And in the case of The Last Jedi, it is. But the Force Awakens side of it is a recut version of footage from the Force Awakens trailer. So it's recut, but it is kind of cool. It just kind of shows like the similarities between, like that first shot where you go open on the sand and then we see Finn kind of just dart up into the screen looking frantic. And they kind of compare that to The Last Jedi, where the first scene we see is some rock, and then we see Rey's hand slam down on it, and she looks equally as bewildered. So it is kind of a neat little study, but it's by no means a real comparison because the Force Awakens trailer was not compiled in the same way. So kind of neat. I'll put that in the show notes. It's fun to watch.
How much of that do you think is just like, I guess, sensibility, like modern sensibility for movie trailers?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't watch that many movie trailers, to be honest, so I can't really compare. The only ones I really care about are science fiction, and they don't always follow the same formula, as far as I've noticed.
But there's a sensibility to them. Like, I mean, if you go on YouTube right now, you type in modern Star Wars trailer, it'll show you episodes 1 through 6 and like weird minimal music, and it'll show you like what a trailer for episode 4 would look like if it was put out today. There's tons of those trailers on the internet.
Yeah.
And so I would argue that there is like a modern sensibility for movie teasers and movie trailers, especially with the advent of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and like the idea of a teaser being like really like supposed to be tantalizing and like just pique your curiosity. I any similarities I feel like people are drawing between movie trailers are not intentional. I mean, not intentional to tie thematically together. I think it's more just like it's a formula. It's like there are trailer houses that exist to create trailers from footage given to them by the creators of the film.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that the studios have input in saying like, okay, this is what we want in the trailer and this is what we don't. But like there are people outside of the filmmakers that create these trailers, and I think they just have it down to a formula, like cuts here, cuts there, here's the music, and that's how it is.
Maybe. I don't know. I think there was something to it. It caught my eye when I saw this thing floating around. I kind of like the idea that maybe they did actually sync up, because there's a subtle art to that. I don't know how up to date on horror video games you are, Mike, but there's a video game called Death Stranding coming out fairly soon. I'm not sure when it's I don't think it has a release date or anything, but it's written by Hideo Kojima
from Metal Gear Solid.
That guy. Okay, so he was working on a game called PT with Guillermo del Toro, and it was...
Is this the one that's like a Metal Gear Solid tie-in? It's not actually.
I don't know. I know that he was working on a horror game. It was a new Silent Hill game. They put out PT as kind of like a promotional thing, and it got rave reviews, and then they canceled Silent Hill. So he went off, he started his own company, and he's putting together this game called Death Stranding, which is going to be awesome. It's got like really big names attached to it. Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen's in it. But he's put out 2 trailers that I've seen so far, and the trailers, when played in tandem actually interact with each other in this really amazing way. I'll put links to them in the show notes. You'll have to see it for yourself. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's really cool. So the idea of those trailers kind of lining up was definitely intriguing, and it's a cool study. But
yeah, I think it's definitely can be done, that kind of interactivity. But for the Star Wars thing, I would definitely chalk it up to the way like a pop song is similar to another pop song in an artist's repertoire or something like that. Like it's just, I think this is designed to in a certain way, and they're going to use those shock elements, those startling things, those easing you into a shot, fade ins, black fade outs. I think that's I think it's more pop sensibility than anything else.
Will definitely capture your attention when you're like sitting in a movie theater chatting with your friends before a movie starts. It's going to draw your attention immediately to the screen.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So here's another note. Okay. So this really could have gone in the last episode because it came out around the same time, but it's related to this movie. So we're talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi's director kind of clearing up this big question about the title. So we've talked about this before. I think we talked about it on episode 17 or 18, where we're kind of debating if it's a singular or plural form of Jedi in the title. And some stuff came out about different languages translating it to plural. So that was kind of like the definitive answer for a while. And that seems to have changed a little bit with the director of the movie kind of clearing things up from his own point of view.
I think watching this trailer will also kind of solidify that thought, like aside from the director being like, yeah, it is a singular Jedi here. We're talking about The Last Jedi, singular. I think, as we'll get to, Luke's lines in the trailer kind of indicate that's the case.
Well, that's what provoked this whole thing. So Rian Johnson was being interviewed by Good Morning America, and they're like, okay, so this trailer's out, and now we kind of want to know, was this singular or plural? And he kind of seemed taken aback. I think he's an affable guy. He seems very friendly and very nice. But I think he was just kind of playing dumb on how important it was to everybody. And he said that it seems like an uninteresting question. And of course, it's on everybody else's mind.
Yeah, I agree. It is so uninteresting.
But it's been a big topic. So he said, look, in my mind, it's singular. In my mind, it is. Absolutely, yeah. So that's kind of the definitive thing. I mean, he's directing the movie. I'm going to take his word over it over translations of Spanish marketing. So I'll have a link to that in the show notes too if you want to watch the clip. He's a hoot. Without further ado, let's dig in. This is the Last Jedi teaser trailer.
The play-by-play. That's cue the Sports Center. Yeah, there we go.
Cue music.
Very minimal, just like those. Just like those modern trailers, just like kind of getting in there a little bit. And then all of a sudden, startle. Just like when Finn popped up. Oh my god, it's a mirror image of the Force Awakens trailer.
Yeah. So Rey's, she's looking, I don't know. I guess she looks more like tired than bewildered.
I mean, I'm not going to comment on her mental state because it just, there's no context shown here.
Sure. But she just looks, I mean, she's sweaty. Like she's wearing the same, okay, this takes place on Octu. Like we get a shot of some rocks and their hand slams down and then we kind of pan up on her and she's sweaty. She's in the same gear she was when she landed on the island. And, she just looks tired. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe she was like trying to lift some rocks or something and she just failed. And now she's like all huffy puffy and worn out. Kind of like me when I try to do a couple sit-ups.
Or maybe she's having a vision, I'm sure there's many, many things that could be happening here, but she might be having another one of those visions that happened when she touched the lightsaber,
That could be. It fades to black and we get lines.
Luke will have lines, as predicted, you guys. As predicted, Luke Skywalker is going to speak in this film.
Nailed it.
You can thank us later. It's fine, guys.
Yeah, so he begins by saying,
breathe.
Just like Faith Hill told us in the year
1998? 96?
1999. Just like Faith Hill told us in the year 1999. Just breathe, you guys. Just breathe.
We get lots of pretty shots of Ahch-To. I think they
that
really,
is a really
they spent a lot of film while they were there, because I mean, this is a beautiful location. This is so cool.
They definitely did not use film.
Well, you know what I mean.
They had the drone army. You can see, actually, if you look closely in the skyline, you can see the drone army kind of warding off, like spy craft that are trying to get into the air, shooting down pirate vessels.
Yeah, lots of shots of the island. Breathe, just breathe, and then we get another cool shot of Rey silhouetted against the ocean waves, and we got a bunch of rocks around her. Kind of looks like she's just kind of standing in front of one of these like washed out pits where the waves have started eroding into the rock, and she's just looking pensive.
Can you see her face?
No, I mean, she's just kind of like standing there looking out over the water. I mean, how else are you going to look out over the water if not pensive?
Sometimes I just go to the beach and just smile at the water. I just get there and cross my arms and I just give it a big old grin.
I suppose she could be like screaming at Poseidon. I have no idea.
Yeah, she's trying to summon the Kraken. She's just smiling at the ocean right there, just catching some rays. And it honestly could just be where she had the force vision or whatever she had at the beginning of the trailer. There's no way to tell.
Well, this ground is wet. The other rocks were not wet, and it was also a different time of day.
Maybe she got hit by a wave, Jacob, huh?
Maybe that's why she was all sweaty. Why are you all sweaty? I was watching Cops.
What's that from?
Oh, Step Brothers. Sorry.
That came up in conversation the other day.
Well, watching Cops?
No, that exact quote. I mentioned how much I love to watch Cops, and someone just said that quote.
That's a notable quotable.
Okay, so then Rey is showing off how many rocks she can levitate.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's almost like the same shot, except can we see the bottom of her shoe here?
I guess, yeah. It looks like
She's still got Han's blaster. I just noticed that.
You can see that?
Yeah. It's right there.
Where?
Right behind her hand. What quality are you... What did you download?
Oh, man. I'm watching the trailer for Smurfs 2. I'm sorry, guys. No, okay. So she's wearing some Lands' End boots, and she's levitating a bunch of rocks, really rubbing it in that she has force abilities.
It really does look like she's wearing Lands' End boots, but she's got that blaster, which is cool, because, I mean, she has a lightsaber at this point, but she's still holding the blaster, which I think is awesome.
Luke held onto a blaster for a good while, right?
No, he used ones that he found, but I don't think he actually carried one, did he?
The Battle of Hoth, maybe?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Well,
who knows?
I don't know. But here's the thing. Here's something I noticed in this here trailer. If you look really closely, like put the screen right up to your face, Mike, get real close.
Okay.
You can actually see
nose is on screen.
That her fingernails are dirty.
Oh my God. I hate you so much.
But the underneath part of the fingernails are not as dirty. What does it mean?
I think it means they have some touching up to do before the movie is released.
What about the shape of these rocks? Do you see anything in the shape of these rocks?
Oh my God, this is just infuriating.
Do you think these rocks are going to like form together and create a new Jedi holocron?
Maybe she smashed something. Maybe she smashed a sacred tablet. This is.
I wonder if this is one of Todd Vaziri's shots where he gets to move all the rocks around.
Maybe he'll assemble it for her afterwards. This is like when Yoda pulled the X-Wing out of the swamp. Like, she's like, oh, I can't lift these rocks. And he's like, watch this. And he makes her like, a sculpture, like a clay sculpture.
Yeah. You know what? Here's a thought. Okay. I think what they want us to get out of this is that she's using the Force and she's making Pebbles move. What if she's like sitting here all bummed out that she can't make it work, and Luke is raising all the pebbles?
What if?
Whoa.
Indeed. I can't. Yeah, someday we'll see. Someday, December 25th. We'll see.
I think my extrapolation's coming off as dickish, so let's move on.
All right. So we have from the back of the head shot of Leia, I guess.
Yeah. Well, as far as we know, this is Leia. I mean, she's got a funky hairdo, and she's standing around a rebellion command or resistance command.
That looks like
thing.
the star map that they put together to find Luke. No?
Yeah, it looks a lot like star maps for anything in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's just a star map in general.
Look, there's if you
I can see
over
Atsu.
here,
I can see Atsu
yeah,
right there.
here's a little dot, and here's another little dot, and look at all these these rings.
There's actually an Easter egg in this. You can actually see Yavin 4. Actually, if you look at that little dot right to the left of Leia's shoulder, that's Yavin 4 right there.
I see it. Cool.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's good. But no, for real, I think I saw like a behind the scenes shot of Rian Johnson and Carrie Fisher standing there with that hairdo.
No, this is definitely Leia. I believe there's a gigantic ring on her finger. I think that's what you can see off to the right there. So this is 100% Carrie Fisher, which is cool. I'm excited that she finished all of her parts for this movie. I think that's great. As those rocks are coming up around Rey, after that fades, it sounds like Luke is saying,
"Now, reach out."
Kind of implying that she's the one that's doing the moving of the rocks. And then as it kind of comes up on Leia, it says,
"What do you see?"
And Rey answers,
"Light."
She sees light.
Light.
That's where we see Leia, and this star map behind her is white. It's a nice light. It's a good light.
It's a fine light. It's a fine light.
It's a very nice light. As a kid, I would love to have that as a nightlight. I used to have a star map that would put stars up on the wall. I love that. That was
Every kid should have that.
They really should. And it came with like a little, not like a real laser pointer because those are actually dangerous, but it came with like a little flashlight that was powerful enough to like point out spots on the ceiling for stars you were looking at.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, but now we come to the most controversial shot, I think, in this trailer teaser.
Yeah.
Trailer teaser. Which is a smashed helmet.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah.
Okay, so looking at this really closely, at first glance, just watching through the trailer during the live stream, I was like, oh, like Vader's mask is smashed. And I definitely thought it was Vader's mask, but after looking at it a little more closely, I'm almost positive that this is Kylo Ren's, just from like the, like the silver lines that are like go over the brow. I can kind of see those in part of this shot. So I'm pretty sure this is Kylo's mask. Would you agree?
Well, I actually think it's both masks. I think that Kylo Ren he took out his blender and he tried to blend his helmet with Darth Vader's so he could cast a new one. He really just wants to be close to Vader.
Yeah.
And then he dropped the blender. It's a glass pitcher, and that's all the glass surrounding whatever these helmets. So I think, long story short, I think it's both helmets, and Kylo was just making a smoothie.
Yeah.
A Sith smoothie, if you will.
That's possible. I see conflict.
You see conflict.
I see a lot of conflict here. One, if assuming that this is Kylo's mask, which I'm almost positive it is, there's definitely conflict within the kid. He just killed his dad, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be dealing with that for a long time. So I think this could be, a reflection of that. It's on a black floor, which kind of indicates that this is somewhere around one of his joints, not so much the result of a fight. I don't think a shot like this would come up in a fight. So I think that this is a very intentional crushing of a helmet. And also the way that it's framed in the trailer, not that it really means anything, but, that's what the fun of this is all about, right? When Rey says light, we see Leia at the command center, and then we hear some slight Vader breathing, which kind of makes you think this is Vader's mask. And then if you listen very closely, it's in the right channel of the audio. Obi-Wan's line where it says,
Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force.
Plays very faintly in the background. And then Rey says,
Darkness.
So she saw the light with Leia, she saw the darkness with Kylo Ren, and I like how that kind of sets up the the Leia Ben conflict, because Leia lost a husband, Ben lost a father, and Kylo Ren and the dark side has that to blame. So these two people that are still very much connected by blood have to kind of work through this, and it's kind of set up in Bloodline, which Mike is still reading, and and I hope that some of that comes to a head, especially in this episode. Being the last one that Carrie Fisher was actually able to be a part of. I hope that some of this can actually come to light, and I hope that some semblance of resolution can be drawn between their relationship, because that's probably one of the more interesting aspects of the storyline. Obviously, son killing father, and the father being Han Solo. I'm eager to see how that plays out in this movie in particular.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I see conflict where you see smoothies.
I mean, smoothies can be conflicting. Kale and carrot? I don't think so, buddy.
No, it's not a smoothie unless it has ice cream, peanut butter, and chocolate in it.
That's a milkshake.
Yum.
All right, next shot. What is that whisper? We have a whisper in the background as they pull into the next shot.
It's Yoda. It's his line where it says,
"Its energy surrounds us."
Okay.
That one was even more faint. That was really hard to catch because it wasn't isolated in one of the stereo tracks. It actually pans from one to the other.
Yeah.
So I heard the Bynes' part, and I'm pretty sure that it just said this entire line.
Right. This is like just chop up little like random Force quotes and just toss them into trailers. Yeah. It's like when Rey's Force vision or like future vision, whatever, we don't know yet, from Force Awakens. Like we have like now it's your turn, Rey, from like Alec Guinness
run.
And Ewan McGregor. Yeah, run. Like we have that coming in the background of her Force vision. So like here she has like other Force ghosts just kind of whispering to her. But,
yeah.
It's kind of like in Force Awakens when we heard, like the Force is strong in my family. That whole quote, like that clearly was not in Force Awakens, but it was in the teaser. And here we have other, quotes that are maybe thematically present. I mean,
they're echoes of the past.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that. I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to get into like Force Awakens debates at this point. We're past it.
Yeah.
We're past it.
So the shot that the Yoda quote plays behind is this cool. I didn't know what this was at first. Mike, you go for it because you're the one who actually kind of told me what this was. I literally couldn't see it for what it actually was. I couldn't see the forest for the trees, so to speak.
It made me think of like True Detective season 1, some like the weird like woodworking stuff, like that,
the Yellow King or
but
whatever.
Like it looks like a big like wooded kind of like, I don't know, like a tree husk or something like that. And you brighten this frame up, I think, and kind of shed light on the surroundings here.
Yeah.
But it's like a very well spotlit, section of Luke's apartment. No, I don't know what it is, but it looks like there's some natural light shining in through a hole in something, kind of like but it's a bookshelf.
Yeah, which I totally didn't see. I saw it like you saw this at like a micro level in a way that I was looking at it as like when it's darker, it's harder to tell what it is. I thought it was like a platform over top of like this, big dark cavern or something. I thought where the light was shining, that was like a place you could stand. And I thought,
oh, like a scale thing. Yeah, I see what I think I did see that like that first when I saw the trailer for the first time. This is, yeah.
And I thought that was like a wall or like an ancient door going into a cave or something. And then you're like, what? The bookshelf? And my mind just scaled out. I'm like, oh, holy crap.
Yeah. There's listeners right now having their minds blown like, oh my God, it was a bookshelf.
Yeah.
It wasn't a giant platform in a cave. It does look like some weird, like, I don't know, like Land Before Timey type like scenery where it's like inside of a mountain or a mountain pass. Well, kind of could be Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, definitely. This will mean nothing to you because you haven't watched the show yet, but for any fans of Rebels, it kind of looks like if you can imagine like the I guess antlers of Bendu. It looks like that, and that's all I can say because Mike hasn't watched the show yet. But when you get there, you'll think of this and you'll be like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool. So, very very kind of cool thing. I'll put maybe the chapter marker here will definitely be like the lightened version of this shot.
And then we cut to a close-up frame of one of those books, presumably, with the Jedi symbol on there, the Jedi crest.
Yeah, this is like the Jedi Order insignia, which is kind of cool. And it looks like there's like writing around the outside of it. And it doesn't look like Urabesh. It looks more like Tolkien's writing, actually, which should be really cool. It'd be an awesome Easter egg. I used to translate that all the time as a kid. I had like the author's edition that came out I think it came out in the 70s. I had the paperback versions and the appendix of Return of the King, there was like a guide, like a key for translating the Elvish runes, and I spent so much time doing that.
I really like the prop design in this shot.
Yeah.
Like this book is weathered.
Yeah, and it's like thick. It's like, I mean, it looks like it would be a product of its time. It's very old. It's very thick paper. It looks like it's bound by string. It looks awesome. It looks really, really good. So what do you think this means? Since we're, assuming that this was on that little bookshelf, where is this? Is this on an Octu?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be I feel like it's gonna be in Luke's, like I said, joking before, his apartment. It's in his little like Yoda dwelling that he's made for himself on Octu to take shelter from the rain. I think it's probably just relics that Luke probably saved before Kylo Ren and his Knights of Ren, scored the temple or whatever Luke was working towards. I imagine it's the last relics.
Okay, so these were brought with him to the island from somewhere else.
I'm calling it.
All right,
I don't think it's
fair.
It's not very groundbreaking.
I imagine it was like left here. I mean, if Octu is supposed to be the site of the original Jedi Temple, I would think that for me, it would be really cooler if, it would be so much cooler if these were like original documents to the founding fathers, the Jedi Order, you know what I mean?
That's kind of cool. Yeah, like Luke sought them out. I still want to believe that he brought them there, but I mean, I guess we'll kind of see why that may not be the case.
It's a gloved hand that's touching it, so I think this is Luke. I think he was wearing gloves in that first shot on the island.
Is it a gloved hand or is it a robot hand?
Well, it's a glove. I mean, I don't know what's underneath the gloves.
Is it a gloved robot hand?
I can mess with the brightness and the contrast, Mike. I don't have X-ray vision on my video player.
All right. Well, it could also... Yeah, I mean, this is like that shot of the lightsaber in the Force Awakens teaser trailer when the lightsaber's being handed to what seemed like Leia, like from Maz Kanata. And that just didn't happen in Force Awakens, So there could be any number of hands. They could have had every actor on set that day come over and touch that. Poe Dameron's hand could be touching that cover. We don't know. Mm-hmm. There's no way to tell. But it's fun to think about it. And then
remember when I thought that could be Ahsoka's hand?
Well, that was fun.
I still wish.
I think we'll always be pulling for that. Yeah. But Ahsoka lives. So
Ahsoka lives. Listen to the last episode, folks. All right, so Rey also says in the background,
The balance.
she sees the light, the darkness, the balance, and then we hear a very subtle lightsaber ignition sound, and it pans to this really cool shot back on the island. It's just silhouettes. It comes around the side of the island, and Rey is practicing her lightsaber moves.
Oh, that's who that is?
Yeah.
That I thought that was Star Wars Kid. That was just swinging. There's got to be someone who's
George
just
Michael Bluth.
Just put Star Wars Kid right at the top of that. Like just pasted him right into that video.
Yeah. Does that thing that she's practicing next to, is that a statue or just a tall rock?
It looks like a statue. Is that the one? Isn't he standing next to something like that at the closing of?
I think so, but I don't think this is the same. It doesn't look exactly like the same location, but it does look like Luke is just standing up the hill a little bit, just kind of watching her twirl around.
Do you think it's like Napoleon Dynamite just doing like kung fu or something like that, and he's just kind of standing there being like, "All right, kid, like we got a lot to learn here."
I think it's almost exactly like that.
She's just like showing how she thinks it's done.
I think the next shot is him joining in, and it's more like Step Brothers in the garage doing karate with pumpkins. We get another little sound clip, and I think this is Luke. I mean, it's hard to say, but I'm assuming the only like lines we're getting in this are Luke and Rey. Sort of like a conversation that is probably just cut together from pieces throughout the movie and stuff that will not make it into the movie. But Luke says here,
We're so much bigger.
So it's like bigger than the light and the dark.
And the balance.
And the balance. And I was talking to a friend of mine and listener of the show. He brought up the concept after watching the trailer of like the Gray Jedi. This is like a Legends concept that Pablo Hidalgo is all but just thrown away. He says like basically you are a Jedi or you're not. Like there's really no Gray Jedi. there are those who kind of disagree with the Jedi way and kind of find themselves distancing themselves from it, like Ahsoka as an example. Even Anakin to a degree, when he feels that the Jedi are becoming arrogant. And now Luke. So I think there's still something there. I think it's, like he says, it's more than the light and the dark. There are more subtleties to it. There's definitely more of a gray area. I don't think we're going to get like the name Gray Jedi, but I think there's something to that concept that's going to come into play with this movie.
Yeah, agreed.
This Christmas.
This Jesus' birthday.
Yeah. Do you think it'll actually come out on Christmas or before? I'm hoping before, because I'm not like a Christmas night movie person. I have a lot of friends that do that every year, but I like spending that time with my family, so I don't like leaving the house.
It's such a weird, like, American thing. It's like this Christmas. Can't they just say December?
Well, it does at the end, but
but like, why does that have to be like the title card? Like, this Christmas.
I don't know.
This Hanukkah.
Did it come out on the 19th last year?
I don't know when Hanukkah falls this year. No, yeah, it was December 19th or something like that.
9th or 19th,
16th. I don't know.
Who knows?
It'll be up before then.
All right, this is where we get those shots of Crate. We get 2 shots of these ships flying across this this Crate plain. They're flying towards walkers. This is why I think it kind of mirrors Hoth. You say it contrasts Hoth, but I think it mirrors Hoth because, we get these ships and they're flying directly towards walkers that are coming across the way. So
yeah, those little walkers in the distance. You gotta have an eagle eye to spot those walkers.
Yeah, they're out there though, and I hope they remember the tow cables this time.
I remember at first glance, I thought that was like the husk of a Naboo fighter. It has like the 2 engines left and right, and then kind of like a conical. I know you're very familiar with Naboo fighters, as you're converting yours into a go-kart, right?
It doesn't look like both of the sides are engines, though. I think one is more of a stabilizer, and it looks like the left side has an engine, and then the pod...
Oh, it is fully not. It is fully not a Naboo fighter.
No, I know.
Yeah, it struck me as one.
Here's the thing. Okay, slowing the shot down, it opens up... this is going to end up on a bunch of those, like, one perfect shot sites. You would get like one of these on each side, so it's like all white, and on each side you see this this red ore kind of sprouting up, and you see in the distance these walkers, and then dropping into the middle of the frame is another one of these ships, and it literally drops. It like actually hits the ground, and you see a big explosion of the red ore. And then in the next shot, if you look, these are all racing across this plain, and behind them is a giant cliff. So I'm thinking there's going to be a really cool shot where like one or a bunch of these just jump off this cliff and then just like hit the ground and keep going. I love those kinds of shots. It's fun. So this is cool. They're all racing across the way, and they're going to engage, looks like.
Yeah.
Neat.
This is where we see Finn?
Yes.
Again? Finn comes in again?
Yeah. Yeah, he looks tired.
He's still sleeping. He's going to wake up like R2-D2 at the end of this movie.
His pillow looks ridiculously comfortable, though.
It's very small. Like, he can't roll over in that thing, that's for sure.
No, it's fluffy. It doesn't look like he can roll at all. It looks like he's in a pretty stiff suit.
And you translated this stuff, right?
No, I didn't. Somebody else did. I thought about it, and then I was like, you said, someone's probably already done that, so I Googled for it. And surely somebody did. They actually... they translated the Arabesh letters on the reflection of his screen. And this is what they said. Quote, ADSF, AFGH. The person that put this text on the screen literally just mashed their hands on the left side of their keyboard.
Yeah, this is the special effects editor just being like, all right, we'll put this back in later. We'll fix this.
The person that translated this also said that another part of it does say stable. So at least that part is there to kind of give some indication that Finn is okay.
Which text is this? Is this the stuff on the left side of the screen?
Yeah, like it would be the left side of the screen. The other side is those are numbers of some description, but the red text on the left side, which would be his right, those are probably some sort of vitals, some messages for him if he wakes up. You're stable, and also ADSF.
Yeah, you got your backslashed by a lightsaber. You made it, guy.
And he's laying on his back. You think this is a Bacta tank, or
maybe the modern equivalent of one, or maybe like Bacta's Bacta. I can't imagine medicine has changed that much in however much time has passed in the Star Wars universe. But
so we'll assume that's right.
Yeah.
All right, and then next shot we get Finn's old buddy Poe and your old buddy BB-8 running down the hallway.
Oh, I love the BB-8. I can't wait for a storybook.
They are running down the hallway. They seem very distressed.
They're trying to get somewhere in a hurry.
Yeah, everybody else is running the opposite direction. Isn't this how it always goes? He's running towards the face of danger. I mean, BB-8 is like full steam ahead.
Yeah, that thing is cruising.
The next shot is it's kind of a trick.
It hurts me.
It's a trick. It shows, the shot of them running down the hallway like full speed, and then in this next shot it shows Poe kind of skidding to a halt, like he was, just stopped running. But it looks like BB-8 had already stopped and was kind of waiting for him to get there. And that at that exact moment, the worst thing ever possibly happened. Like it's awful. It's hard to watch.
It hurts.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Poe's beautiful black and orange X-Wing gets blown to hell. It's terrible.
Does it, or is that something behind it?
No, I mean it definitely goes underneath. Yeah, no, it hits it. It hits it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, he even gets a brunt of the blast. That's gonna hurt.
He's gonna singe his eyebrows there. He's gonna be eyebrowless
at the very least. But good lord, seriously, it's easily my favorite ship ever in the Star Wars universe. I have the giant Lego version sitting here on my desk. I have another one of them hanging up in my office. I love this ship. It's so good looking. And now they've just destroyed it. What's next? Something you like?
Fighters getting blown up. We got the Falcon. Another shot of the Falcon. Mm-hmm. And that's flying. It's blown up some TIE fighters. Great job. But who's flying it? Who's flying the Falcon, man? Who's flying it?
Chewie.
Yeah, that's not really that exciting, I guess.
Probably Chewie. I mean, maybe Rey.
Maybe Poe. He's in a ship.
Yeah, maybe it's Poe. All right, and then next we get Rey, and now she's running.
With the lightsaber in hands. And I don't know if there's a lot of room to run on Atsu, so like maybe we've changed settings here, I think.
Has she changed clothes? Yes. No.
I mean her hair's up, so clearly she's got whatever symbolic change has gone on with her hair on the toy boxes that we're seeing.
It's the same outfit. I mean,
Han Solo wears the same outfit all the time. He wore the same outfit.
I think it's really dangerous to run with a lightsaber open.
Have you ever seen Attack of the Clones? They all run at each other with lightsabers.
I know, but
open.
she's like, I don't know. It just really seems like she's gonna take her knee out or something.
Yeah, it seems dangerous. You're right.
Yeah. Luke comes back into the audio track here. He says,
I only know one truth.
And we get a shot of Kylo Ren, and he's holding a lightsaber out in front of his face. No helmet, but still guarding his face because he thinks something else is going to happen to it. And on that topic, do you know anything different about the scar?
Well, I've read that it's in a different spot, I guess.
Well, it is. Yeah. You have any thoughts on that? Is that okay with you?
I don't really know. Where's the scar supposed to be?
Okay,
where's
the scar actually came down between his eyes and then down the side of his nose, across his cheek. So on this one, it's basically splits his his eye in half. It goes right through where the pupil is on his actual eyeball. So it's like a perfect bad guy scar now, instead of being that gigantic weird gash that went across the front.
I mean, all the ladies love Kylo Ren, and you're not going to scar up that face for the film. Also, it conveniently is in the part of his face that's hidden on the poster. So that scar's not visible. So there's no scarred faces on the poster of Last Jedi so far.
When I first saw The Force Awakens, and when I've watched it since, I actually thought that the scar placement was bad. I thought, okay, that's just weird looking. It almost just looks a little fake. It was just too deep to be realistic. You know what I mean? And then here, it's a nice scar. I mean, it's a good theatrical scar. It does bug me now that they moved it. They should have either done it like this the first time, or not moved it at all and just made it more subtle. But like, does the First Order not have, bacta tanks? Like, can't he heal up? Why does he still have a scar?
It's because his beautiful face. That's all there is to it. We just got to keep it visible. Got to keep it.
Well,
he's got to look friendly for the toys to be made.
So that's the thing. And it looks like he's like, I don't know, do you think he's cutting through something here? Because he kind of twists the lightsaber. Like his wrist twists and it looks like he spins the lightsaber around like he's actually trying to cut into something maybe.
Maybe. He looks like he's testing it. Maybe he repaired it or something like that.
Looks like he's surrounded by fire.
Maybe he's inside a volcano.
Maybe
he's going to commune on Mustafar.
Oh, no.
I mean, speaking of hot things on fire, though, that next shot, though.
Yeah. We don't know what this is, do we?
I mean, I think we can assume what it is,
Is this a temple?
Well, it's like the opposite view, or it's another view of what happened in the Force Awakens teaser and Rey's Force vision, right? Where it's like Luke putting whatever inside of R2-D2. And this is just the opposite side. We're seeing what was casting a flame onto Luke. Luke's wearing his robe. So, I mean, something's wearing a robe. I assume it's Luke. I assume it's a temple on fire because R2-D2's awake. I assume it's a flashback.
I think so, too.
You can't really tell the rubble on the right. The rubble on the right's not very visible there.
He does fall to his knees here. That's one thing I noticed, so he's definitely in despair.
Yeah, or he's just trying to put something into R2-D2 like Leia did.
No. This is like a true, like, he's standing in the very first frame. The next frame, he falls, and then he kind of falters off to the left, and then kind of settles back in, and that's the end of the shot. I don't know. I think that you're right. I think this is a flashback to his Jedi temple and the destruction of it. But they play with that in the next shot.
Yeah, we don't know if they're the same thing. Are those snowtroopers on the left and right, though?
No, just First Order.
It looks like a snowtrooper on the left.
It's hard to say, but no, the helmet isn't wide enough.
I guess it could just be stupid.
There's a captain behind her, or not a captain, whatever would be under a captain, I guess. She's the captain. This is Captain Phasma. She's coming up through the wreckage and flames of something. But it's a reflective floor, so it's definitely not the same shot as last time. So I'm thinking maybe this is in like a First Order installation or something. Is a shiny black floor, and looks like maybe TIE parts or some kind of ship parts. Hey, maybe Poe...
It's a hangar. I think this is Poe's wreckage.
Yeah, I think Poe and Finn broke back into their base or like their space station again and stole another thing and shot more stuff.
It's nice and reassuring that Captain Phasma made it out of the garbage disposal, though.
Yeah, which we're going to learn more about in some upcoming pieces of literature. Find out more in the last episode of the show.
Of Bantha Fodder he's talking about. Go back one episode if you haven't
go back
listened
one.
to it.
Go back one. Hit the books chapter and get clued in. Next up, this is probably what you're going to be most excited about, if this is like a long enough scene. I hope that this is a longer scene than we've got in the last two Star Wars movies.
We have a big fleet of frigates, just
a bunch of friggin' frigates.
Yeah, just a lot of them, a lot of First Order ties hitting them. One of them is probably the medical frigate, Mm-hmm. They're going for the medical frigate, I'm pretty sure. That's kind of their MO.
Got some X-Wings, got some TIE fighters, they're blowing stuff up.
What's the rumor on the rumored title of this movie was The Fall of the Resistance? Is that true? Is there any truth to that? I read it somewhere.
That might have been one of the things they copyrighted.
Yeah, and I mean, if anything, this is between Poe's X-Wing blowing up and the Resistance fleet kind of amassed and a dogfight going on, this could be one of those like kind of Empire Strikes Back things. So surprise, everybody predicted this was going to be like the dark, sad movie. Even though Rian Johnson said this movie was supposed to be about fun, right?
Yeah, I think it is going to be fun. I'm looking back at the things that they copyrighted that people have been speculating on. One was Forces of Destiny. Again, listen to the last episode of the show. We talk about that. There's another one. Oh, here's one that came out in February, Star Wars Rivals. I don't think we know what that is yet.
Wasn't that, a new series, a new animated show?
No, that's Forces of Destiny.
I guess we'll find out. Yeah, no, we have the continuation of what Luke is saying. Is like, I only know, like, what is it?
We're going to skate to one song only.
Oh, yeah, he said, I only know one truth, and it cuts to black, and then he says, it's time for the Jedi and it fades in on Luke's silhouette.
It's time for the Jedi.
Just standing in the doorway before he goes out to grab some milk.
Yeah. And then it finishes.
To end.
So the whole line is, I only know one truth. It's time for the Jedi to end.
And here's my thing. I think that it's totally possible that that's the actual line, but the audio is so disjointed. I mean, just listening to it in like semi-decent headphones, you can hear the reverbs change. So like the first one is like a wider chamber, and then when he says to end, like the beginning of a sentence and the second half of the sentence just do not sound like they were recorded at the same time. That being said, it could just be the trailer house again, you know, maximizing, like just doing whatever sound design they need to do for the trailer to make certain lines sound better over the music before it cuts out and he says to end. But it definitely sounds distinct, like this is chopped up.
Definitely.
So my assumption is that this line will not be in the movie, much like a lot of the, you know, like the Rogue One stuff where she rebels.
But I think it probably reflects a sentiment.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think you can get around the sentiment, but I do think it's not going to be worded in the exact way. I think it's good. This is going to be one of those moments where we're just like, yeah, I don't know if that's a thing. Like that didn't happen. Like where was that trailer moment?
It's still a big payoff though. I mean, it's a great line. I mean, it really makes you think, obviously, like, it's time for the Jedi to end. I mean, that was kind of, I think that was some of the stuff that we kind of hypothesized really early on, before The Force Awakens came out. When we started the show, we were just kind of, theorizing about it literally being the end of the Jedi. You know, the Jedi Order as we know it is gone, and where there will be Force users going forward, they're not going to be trained in the Jedi way. Things are going to change.
Yeah, we just talked about how this was, like, we predicted that this is what, like, Luke is going to be starting a new Jedi Order, like a new type of Jedi, which is that gray Jedi that you mentioned before.
Something like that. I don't know. I think there's going to be a point where he, kind of explains to Rey that she's going to have to, like, tap into darker elements to, defeat the darkness. I think that this is like a deeper evil than we've really seen so far.
But light and darkness balance, but there's so much more, he says.
Oh.
What if this is like that episode we did on that Clone Wars arc where, like, Anakin becomes, like, the chosen, where they, like, he's definitely the chosen one. Yeah, the Mortis arc. Oh my God. What if this is the payoff, my most hated arc?
I still love that arc.
Ugh. If that just becomes, like, a really huge element of Last Jedi, that'd be hilarious.
Maybe. Who knows? I mean, I always wondered what they're going to do with that. Like, there has to be something more to that. It was what, like 2 or 3 episodes?
3.
Which is, it's great. It's a nice little arc for the show, but
some weird lore stuff, though, like weird symbolism and just, like, super out of, like, just non-stylist. This is not styled at all.
Well, yeah, it was definitely a departure, but I still think it's interesting, and I still think it fits.
Well, we don't have to talk about that anymore. It's over. But that's the trailer.
So it cuts to black, and then it shows the logo, and then it says December, and I think that's pretty much it.
Oh, that's not it, though, Jacob. That's not it.
What's left? No, it is it. Cuts to black, shows the logo, it says December, and then it's over.
No, dude. If you turn that volume up as that date is showing there, do you hear that?
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Do you hear that? Do you remember, what is it? Does it bring anything to mind?
A certain theme from the last movie.
Yeah, so it's some, like, Gregorian chant type things, which was what John Williams composed to be Snoke's theme. Now, there's just one note being held, so I would never go as far to say as, like, oh, it's definitely like a Snoke thing, but, like, I mean, Gregorian chants don't come up that often in Star Wars music. No, and, like, for Snoke's theme to be so prominently, like, Gregorian, the Rudyard Kipling poem translated into Sanskrit, it seems like kind of like a weird thing, like an undertone fading in. I mean, we don't get any Snoke. There's no voiceover like in the Force Awakens teasers, There's no, like, visuals relating to Snoke. Who knows what may happen in future trailers, but it's going to be pretty wild.
I agree. I'm excited about it. I think overall, I'm really happy with this teaser. it's short, obviously, but I think it shows plenty to kind of, get my mouth watering a little bit. I think even just that shot with the big tree bookshelf thing is cool. That just shows me that there's lore involved, and I love lore. So bring it on. I'm excited to see what the end of the Jedi is all about.
We'll see what happens next. I think there's plenty of time to conjecture about what these things could mean as more trailers become available to us. But so I don't think this is the time to think about where we're going with this. But in general, like those are your thoughts. My thoughts on the trailer are, this is our third new Star Wars movie trailer, like specific to the movie in 3 years, and it's starting to just, for me personally, to just be like, okay, here it is, Star Wars trailer. Okay,
no, don't get jaded.
It's happening, man. It's happening to me. It just, I just know, like the first Force Awakens teaser, I was like, oh my God, yeah. Oh, 12 months to go. And now, they're giving it to us. Like they're definitely, giving us a little bit less time to wait.
I guess it's almost like the Harry Potter thing when those movies were coming out. I don't know if you waited for them like I did, but I definitely, I recognize that feeling.
I did not. But yeah, now it's like, okay, all right, there's the teaser. Yeah. 8 months to go. Sweet. Okay, now I just have to think about something else for 8 months. And that's just kind of where I'm at right now. It's cool. I mean, I recognize the characters. I'm not wondering who Rey is. I'm not wondering who Finn is. I'm not wondering why Finn is wearing a stormtrooper outfit. I'm not wondering why Finn is in a recovery chamber. There's not a lot to wonder about here. We talked about a lot of things in this trailer, like can just like be like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But like the truth is, like, it's not like new and interesting to me. It's more just like maybe it's something, and it's all based on what I already know. Like the Force Awakens teaser is like, who is this person? And now it's like, what do I already know about this person that is interesting and could happen here? Like we're talking about gloved hands. Who is touching this book? And I have no idea. And I'm just trying so hard I'm trying not to care, not to be cool or to sound cool. I'm trying not to care just for like my mental state, just to, just to not get my hopes up, because I know reshoots happen. I know like this is very unlikely to have reshoots happening.
Not for this one.
Not like Rogue One. But still, like, things change between teasers. Things don't make it to the film, regardless of reshoots. And I'm just trying not to get my hopes up or wait. I got lots of stuff to do in the meantime. So it's just a teaser for me. I'll watch the teaser. I'll watch the first trailer, as I did with Force Awakens and Rogue One, and then after that, any future like TV spots or second trailers I will not watch, because I just don't want. They just start to give away too much by that second trailer. There's just too much, and I don't want it. I don't want it.
When do you think that next trailer is going to come out?
Summer. Like, I would guess June.
Okay.
June, maybe midsummer.
Yeah.
Whatever blockbuster comes out, like we're going to see like some Marvel movies coming out this summer.
Probably not like 5 Marvel movies coming out.
Well, Guardians is coming out, but that's like this month, so I don't think it's going to be. That's just going to be the Star Wars teaser playing before that. But like maybe whatever big, I couldn't even tell you what's coming out this year. But whatever Marvel movie's coming out later on the year is going to be. It's going to be the big one. That's going to be like the next trailer.
Do you think?
No.
After this series is done, they're going to start spreading out the Star Wars movies a little bit more, so it won't be one every year?
Nope.
Because we've got this series wrapping up. We've got 2 more anthology movies. And then as far as movies go, we don't really have any idea what they're doing after that. I wonder if maybe kind of just depending on how the reception goes to maybe Han Solo, maybe Episode 9, maybe they delay a little bit so they don't oversaturate.
No, I think maybe just to give Star Wars Land a little bit of time to breathe. Because like we pointed out before, Star Wars Land is opening in 2019, which is the opening of Episode 9, presumably. And so I think they're going to want to let that land breathe, maybe. But I can't imagine they're going to stop. Like, as long as these movies are guaranteeing somebody, some executive, to have their pocket filled, year after year, nobody's going to stop a Star Wars production from happening every year. I'm sorry to sound like cynical about it.
No,
but
I mean, that definitely makes sense, but I don't know. I just have a feeling. I have this feeling that they're going to slow down. And I have this other this like nagging suspicion in the back of my head that we're just going to get a giant spurt of Star Wars. You know, now that like Rebels is wrapping up and at the pace that they're releasing books, I just have a feeling that we're just going to get this like really big burst of Star Wars over the course of like a decade, and it might cool off for a while. I think maybe the movies might cool off. Maybe, you know, the books will calm down. The excitement won't be quite as high, and they're going to give it some time to kind of breathe, and then, you know, come at it again with some more movies. I don't know that for sure, obviously, but I have this feeling that maybe it's not sustainable at this pace.
I mean, I would argue that it's totally sustainable, as evidenced by the fact that they're just so like they know it's sustainable. They're booking all these movies out. You know, I just don't think that anybody would stop. They would be like, oh, let's not make a Star Wars movie, so let's not make millions of dollars. I can't imagine a studio would say that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a studio as smart as theirs would know, like, when to quit. I think if they were to put out like a bad, and that's why I say with the third standalone movie, if they put out a bad standalone movie, it might kind of change that idea.
Something would have to tank. Like Han Solo would have to tank, but there's no way they would let this movie tank. You know, I mean, like we're dealing with like 2 Marvel movies a year. You know, 2 superhero movies. You know, like it's just. I think the entertainment industry has it nailed down hard enough where they don't have to worry about messing up. They're enough hands. I mean, like Fantastic Four is like one superhero movie I can think of that was like a colossal failure. Like I didn't think a movie could ever be that bad.
And then they put out Suicide Squad.
I didn't see that. I haven't really indulged in the DC universe at all. But yeah, like I didn't think a movie could be as bad as Fantastic Four, and that didn't even stop the Marvel thing from happening. They just blamed it on Fox and like, you know, or whoever has that franchise, and they moved on and they continued to put out like Civil War and just amazing like superhero movies. I mean, say what you will about superhero movies, but like as far as superhero movies go, they're good. But yeah, even like Fantastic Four couldn't stop the Marvel train. So I don't think like one bad Star Wars movie could stop the Star Wars train. I think as long as money is to be made, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Like
they're going to have to see like an episodic film tank before they say no. And for an episodic film to tank, I mean, I imagine they would push an episodic film 6 months past its supposed release date to ensure that they have the budget and they have the time and resources and marketing time. Because I mean, like every single Transformers movie does fine, you know. Like they're on Transformers 5 now
somehow.
Yeah, and there's that article that came out that Michael Bay is doing. You know, like he's got like 10 more Transformers movies or whatever outlined right now. And it's like,
good Lord.
Yeah, he's not going to stop. No one's going to stop as long as people keep paying for these movies. And like Transformers is like pretty bad, you know. Those movies like close to 3 hours long. The last one was like 2 hours and like 45 minutes, which is insane for a Transformers movie. That's like, it's an hour and a half too long.
I agree with that.
But they're still doing it. Who knows what the runtime on this one? This is going to be like a 2-parter.
Oh, jeez.
They're going to Harry Potter.
I haven't watched it since Shia LaBeouf left.
Yeah, it was after 3, the third one. I have not seen the Marky Mark ones. I'm sorry, Mark Wahlberg. Please forgive me, Mark.
All right. Well, we've probably got a couple months left until another trailer. We'll probably talk about that when it comes out. In the meantime, let's see. Well, first of all, I want to know if anybody listening to the show has any ideas for topics. We're not necessarily sorry for topics, but if you have anything that you would like us to chat about, anything in the Star Wars universe, any concepts, any pieces of media, books, characters, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. Our handle is there. Our handle there is Bantha Fodder FM, and let us know. I think we are probably going to talk about some books. I know you're finishing up Bloodline, so I'm going to kind of skim through my notes on that again to kind of refamiliarize. We'll probably do that pretty soon, and then we were talking about a couple more books before we started recording tonight, so we'll see what happens.
I mean, you got me, who's loves to be the cynic, and then Jacob, who's a huge enthusiast, so you can get some pretty interesting debates out of the two of us. or disagreements at least. So, just give us a topic and discuss. We'll do it.
Let's talk about that contest.
Oh, yeah. The contest,
we talked about the contest in the last episode of the show. I buy way too much Star Wars stuff, and sometimes it turns out that I buy things twice. So that's the case with Jason Fry's Rebel Dossier. I actually bought 2 copies of this in hardback. That's my bad, but that's your benefit as well. So here's the deal. If you want a copy of this book, all you have to do is follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, and subscribe to us in whatever podcast player you use. You can do one or all of these things, but you have to do at least one of them, and you have to send us proof. So you can send us an email. Our email address is banthafodderfm@gmail.com. You can send us a message on Twitter or on Facebook. Send us screenshots of, you liking us, following us, and subscribe to us. And if you do all 3, I'm going to toss in a Bantha Fodder Superfan bonus ticket, and that means you get 4 entries instead of 3. Mike also tossed in some bonus stakes that they're going to net you another 2 entries. So here's what you have to do.
If you review the show on iTunes, in the little podcast player, you just go to open the podcast and write a review. Then you get 2 entries there. 2
entries. So again, just follow us on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe to our show in your podcast player, whether you use the iOS podcast player, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Pod Wrangler, Stitcher, whatever you're using to listen to our show. Subscribe, send us screenshots to banthafodderfm@gmail.com or one of our social feeds, and you're in. It's really easy. All you got to do is do all that and get all those in there with your name, and you're in the running for a really cool book by Jason Fry, who is really, really awesome. So best of luck.
Show notes. If you want to read show notes from today's episode, banthafodder.fm/episode/20. 20. We got 20 episodes in. Feels so good. So check it out. Jacob, you said the Twitter handle and everything.
Yeah, it's Bantha Fodder FM. Our individual Twitter handles are Jacob Tender and Mike Comite. That's us on Twitter. So follow us up there, and let's chat trailers.
See you next time. Bye, guys.
See you later. Bye.
Let's chat trailers.
That could be our next podcast.
What?
Let's try trailers. Let's chat trailers.
Let's try trailers. That's a bad tongue twister. Okay, anyway.